He has emerged as a top candidate for the Orlando Magic's head coaching job. Van Gundy was a senior consultant for the Boston Celtics during the 23-24 campaign. After that, he joined the LA Clippers as a member of Tyronn Lue's coaching staff. That's where he has spent the last 2 seasons. If you remember, his brother Stan Van Gundy was the head coach of the Orlando Magic for 5 years. That included a trip to the NBA Finals during the 2008-2009 season. Right now, 91 degrees at 2 o'clock. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
I feel like people are recovering from injuries faster and faster these days. I just saw that Daniel Jones is now throwing at Colts OTAs less than 6 months after he tore his Achilles. We saw that Patrick Mahomes was at least out throwing the football after he tore his ACL last season at Chiefs OTAs. And of course, we saw Travis Hunter on the practice field, or you did in person. We did via social yesterday. And obviously an ACL injury for him less than 9 months ago. I feel like it used to be 9 months to a year for certain injuries, and now we're just speeding them up.
Well, being able to do what they're doing and actually playing a game are 2 different things. You know what I mean? So you eventually, I was listening to Dr. Barry, talking about Travis with his LCL, 7 months, he's healed. The injury's healed, but everything around it may not be ready to go. So you got to make sure that it's strong, that you can cut on instinct. That's going to look. I can remember coming back from my ACL, and I did the cadaver ligament, which meant it was less invasive. They didn't have to open me up. They didn't have to take another piece from my patella tendon or somewhere else. I used the cadaver ligament. 19-year-old young man that passed away in a car wreck. God rest his soul. But anyway, so I was squatting in 3 months. I was running linearly, meaning in straight lines or side to side in about 4 or 5. But there was no way I could anywhere come near close taking on somebody, hitting them, using that power, and having that leg ready to go. So even though it's good to running around, that means it's a good sign, right? That means they're healing, they're getting stronger, but they're not quite ready for that. It's like when people say, "Why don't you play pickleball?" I'm like, because I don't do that kind of movement anymore based on instinct, because things tear, things rip. And I like my linear movements. I'm good with my linear movements. You know what I mean? So it's kind of the same thing when you're coming back from that injury. You just got to make sure that it's fully, the strength is there. All the muscles are back. You think about it like your knee, when they take your ace, they do your ACL, it just deflates your quad. Yeah. Your quad becomes mush. It's the strangest thing in the world. But little by little, you can get that contraction back, build it back. And then it's like muscle memory comes back over time. But it's wild how, look, back in the day, they used to open you up like crazy, simple knee injury. And they'd open you up on both sides of your kneecap. You see the old guys, the 70-year-olds, they got scars
all over.
Man, they just totally filleted you open and tried to fix you some way or another. And just totally
get
different.
in there all the way, like a C-section almost. And for knees. Now it's much smaller scars, and you're right. Travis Hunter didn't have the ACL, but the LCL.
But still, it's a significant knee injury.
I just lump all the knee injuries, unless it's like a dislocation of the patellar tendon, I lump all those in the CL category.
Well, in your mind, I think immediately is always kind of surgery, oh no. That's where your mind kind of links to. And I've heard Dr. Bari talk about it a lot too, in the sense of different people heal different ways. Also, obviously a little quicker, a little slower. And that's why sometimes you will see 2 guys with the same injury and one takes a little bit longer. And I know one of the things when you talk about Tommy John, that is one that in the past it was like, okay, year minimum you're missing from this. And we've seen guys after 8 months come back now from Tommy John. And so I do think there's a combination of advancement in technology, not being so invasive in certain surgeries. And then obviously it depends what
and
exactly
rehab.
is.
The therapies are different, right? If you don't rehab out there, you're not going to come back fully. The range of motion is like the first key things they do, and it hurts. I mean, they got to break through all the scar tissue, all the stuff that's in there, and literally just force it down until it you break through it, and you'll be in some pain. Trust me. We had this trainer John, little guy, and he'd take all his body weight, in my shin, and try to get my heel to and I'd be biting on this wooden thing or this towel, and then he'd whisper in my ear, be like, "Oh, quit being such a wimp." I'm like, "I'm gonna kill you, John. I swear I'm gonna kill you. It's over." And he'd be laughing the whole time. But you had to do it, and if you didn't do that, that's what sets you back, right? Because if you don't rehab it out there, do all that, get the range of motion back, then get the strength back, you won't be back fully. And I don't think you ever get to 100% again. You may get to 99, but once they cut on you, you're damaged.
Yeah.
Now, granted, surgery does what? It fixes you. So it's not the surgery that you're worried about. It's more the after.
All of those surrounding pieces recovering together also. Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And there can be setbacks, which we've seen throughout the NFL.
Absolutely.
Players you'll see have surgery, but then there was some sort of setback. And then obviously there's the extreme cases of like an Alex Smith who had a gruesome injury and then had surgery, but then there were infections upon infections and things like that. And so it really is honestly more of a miracle that most of the guys that get injured end up having, I'll call it a full recovery, even if it's not back to 100%, but that they don't have some sort of other issue that weaves its way back into some, parts of their body.
Absolutely. Well, if you're favoring something, you're going to maybe hurt something else.
Right. Overcompensating one.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes you're worried about it. Like, there may be some possible pain here. So I'm going to not lean on that ankle or knee as much, even though maybe it doesn't actually hurt. I know I had that because I tore ligaments in my left ankle. And to this day, I still find myself a lot of times favoring the right just because in my head for so long that ankle hurt that you get used to just not having to put as much pressure on that certain side.
I always feel terrible for the guys that get hurt, rehab the whole year, and then get hurt again. It's
like Cooper Hodges.
That's
that's the one
that's
that
tough.
sticks out at
That's
me.
a real tough. Yeah, good call. Just a real tough because when you get hurt, especially when you're under that's your job now. So your job goes from being a football player to being a guy that's got to rehab his injury or a patient to get back to being a football player again. So that's all you do. That's your entire existence is rehabbing that injury. And then it's a lot. Like I said, a lot of it is can be gruesome, can be challenging, and then you go through it, and then you're back, you feel great, and then boom, even if it's something else, then you're like, oh my gosh, like is my body just not going to be able to hold up, or what's the deal?
For yours, because your ACL was non-contact? Yeah. So
Foot too.
I know some people, when it comes to certain contact, that also has to probably play if they got hit a certain way and the injury was caused from that.
Yeah.
For you, were you scared for a while or like worried for a while after that? Oh, if I make that same movement, this is going to happen again? Is that in your head?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, one of the first days of camp, I felt like I tweaked it. All I did was I was running down on a punt coverage, and it was not live, but somewhat live, and you had to break down, and I wasn't ready to do that. I was like, yow, like I thought I heard it again. Yeah. And then it gets into your mind, like, oh, man, I heard it again. But no, eventually that's part of the rehab process. Like, once you forget about the injury, then you're back. Yeah. So for me, like with the ACL, so I did that in 97, probably like 6th, 7th game. Right, because I was kind of I was back and forth. I wasn't thinking about it anymore. You know what I mean? But camp, it bothered me. So I thought about it all the time. I'd even watch myself on film. It felt like my right leg was dragging behind a little bit. Like it wasn't up to speed yet. It just seemed weird. But a lot of that's mental, because you are concerned, well, what if I do that again? What if that happens again?
And that's why when we talk about quarterback injuries, a lot of those happen because those guys are getting trucked, right? Like they're getting sacked and they go down funky, whether it's the foot, the toe, the shoulder, no matter what it is. And like, imagine you as a linebacker, you get to determine pretty much how much force you're putting against a running back or whoever it is you're covering.
Back then, especially.
Right, exactly. And the safeties could do pretty much whatever they wanted over the middle. Yeah. Now the quarterback, and even then, but the quarterback has no control over how fast that someone is coming at them. Yeah. Right? Like they just have to hope that their offensive line protects or that they're able to evade the sack or something along those lines. But if you've been hurt multiple times as a quarterback, I feel like no longer processing as quickly about throwing the football and where you're going with that, because now you're thinking, am I going to be protected long enough to get this football?
Totally. Well, and especially if you hurt your plant leg,
Yeah.
That's when it gets a little, because people are on your feet. You're like a little iffy there. Look, when quarterbacks are called tough, right? Like, what's a tough? We have one in Trevor. Yeah. What's a tough QB? He's going to hang in there. He's going to make the throw, even if he gets clobbered, right?
And they'll play through injury.
Yeah, and play through injury. But just that mere thing alone, like you're standing there, you're looking at your receivers, you're trying to figure it out. And it's almost like that male deer that's out looking for tail, and one of you hunters just blasts his head off. He doesn't see it coming. He's thinking this is going to be great. Oh, look, I found it. And kapow, you kill him, and he's on the ground. It's like that for a quarter. Like, you don't see it come. So think about, so if I'm a tough quarterback, think how extra tough I really am, because I do have to stand there and not just knowing if someone's going to kill me. I mean, literally. And, look, that's why, although I'm not totally for it, that's why they protect the quarterbacks the way they do, because those are lights out type. We used to call them kill shots. Like, you'll knock him out of the game if you hit him hard enough.
Like, people watch the NFL for certain quarterbacks, especially if the team isn't as good. By the way, I feel like I'm certainly not a hunter, but I feel like the hunters would want me to say that you want to kill the deer through the heart, because they want to mount that head.
Well, heart, head, he's not looking for action. He destroyed his whole life. That's all I'm saying.
I know. And I will say, when we're speaking of injuries, one of the interesting ones when it comes to the division is that Tank Dell one, because his was ACL, LCL, MCL, and something with his kneecap. So it was almost his whole entire leg. But I saw an article a couple weeks ago saying he's trending towards being able to play this year. When that means, I don't know. But that's one that I couldn't imagine. Your whole leg at that point, everything is ripped and torn. And now it's been 2 years since you've played football.
So John Wade, who used to play center here, he did that in Tampa as a center. His kneecap was up in his thigh. He shredded the whole thing. By the way, he played the very first snap the next season. That was done in October the year before, like mid to late.
That's amazing.
And then he came back and played with it. Also played with 3 hernias. I'm like, what? Why didn't you get it fixed? He's like, I didn't have time.
I didn't have time.
Those whole linemen,
there's something different. I remember we were in Vegas for the first time, Taylor, before you were on the show, Tom. And I was watching that Texans game live and saw that injury to Tank Dell. And I was almost crying, even though this is obviously a player that it plays for the Texans. I don't care that much about him, but it was so bad. And you could just see it, the teammates and their reactions. And
you know right away.
Right. Yeah. And that's one of those that, even regardless of technology, sometimes that is just going to take longer based off of how you heal. And by the way, a caveat in all this too is most of these people that we're talking about are between 20 and 29 years old, somewhere in that range, or at least in their 20s.
Right.
And so their recovery time is way faster than if we, the collective we, as far as people over the age of 35 are getting injured. All right, more Jaguars to discuss. A couple key players that weren't there yesterday. I do want to get into that. When we return, you are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Saluting right over left. Arms locked at the elbows. 1010XL, home of the Gators.
Longer days, warmer nights, and a backyard that brings everyone together. Spring and summer in Florida means pool days, backyard barbecues, and night swims under the stars. Picket here. For nearly 50 years, Surfside Pools has been creating the backdrops for life's best memories. From weekly service and repairs to remodels, commercial maintenance, and new pool construction, Surfside does it all. Ready to float happy? SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools. Summer starts here. License number CPC 044080.
Hey, I know how awful it is to get injured out there, and especially, listen, if it's because of someone's negligence. Tom McMahon is here. If you get injured out there, make sure you call the one number. It's Pound Law, that's all. Slip and fall, car wreck, wrongful death, it doesn't matter. Morgan & Morgan handles it all. The largest in the country, 100 offices, over 1,000 attorneys, and $30 billion recovered. That's the kind of team I want. If you get hurt from someone else's wrongdoing, check out Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Dr. George Bari. Bari Orthopedics is your choice when it comes to an injury. We're here for you and your loved ones to deliver excellent treatment and care fast the first time. Trust your care in our hands. Get same-day appointments for your injuries with 3 locations. If it hurts, ask us first. Bari Orthopedics.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Bari and the entire staff at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for First Florida Credit Union. I went to the branch on 210 to get my car loan and had a fantastic experience. I got a great rate and was in and out. The online banking services are also outstanding. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
When you want to know what's happening in Gainesville, roll with the Gator Report. I'm Joe C. Listen for updates on Florida Gator athletics several times a week on 1010XL. Built by Cash Building Material. Windows and doors done right.
Go, Gator! It's a week-long flash sale right now from Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet cleaning for $125 and $5.99 air duct cleaning per unit. Book now before the offer disappears. Call 287-5727. Flash sale now through the end of the week. 3 rooms of carpet cleaning for $125 and air duct cleaning for $5.99 per unit. Call 287-5727. 287-5727. Zero Res. Spelled backward or forward, it's the right way to clean.
What if your next fun day out costs you $70 to play all day? That's exactly what you get at the Battalion Airsoft Arena, the only indoor airsoft battlefield in Jax. Skip the same old boring entertainment choices and step into real action with your crew. Perfect for birthdays, company team building, graduation parties, or just epic weekend fun. No experience, no problem. The Battalion package includes everything: gun, mask, and ammo with unlimited play. So lock in your mission now at BattalionAirsoftArena.com.
Hacker here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You know, the summer is here. In fact, I'm out on a little vacation right now with my family, and that's one of the great things about Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I'll talk about the coaching you get on Awaken 180. You know, some weight loss programs, what do, right? They just send you some shots. They say, all right, work it out. They send you an appetite suppressant, some sort of pill. All right, you're on your own. Not Awaken 180. You talk with your coach. Like my coach, Kate. Every time I was on vacation, every time I had a family get together, we worked up a plan. We worked up something for me to follow, and then I would get right back on the program when I returned from vacation. It's one of the great things about Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and it's why I lost over 100 pounds. It's the best weight loss program I was ever on. They know life happens, but they work with you, and it's great. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Tom McManus, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. This music's a little funky.
It is funky.
I describe it. A little funky. What do we have, RJ?
Pharrell, a song entitled Hunter. This was maybe about 10 so years ago. 10 plus years ago when it came out.
Very nice.
Did the hunters weigh in on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures that you're supposed to hit the deer in the heart, not the head?
That's right.
All I know, like I said, is everybody, if they get a certain, deer that they want to...
They keep the head.
Yeah, they want to brag about. They mount that thing on their wall.
Yeah, my brother has several on his walls.
Yeah, my buddy Robbie, right?
Mm-hmm.
He shot a.
I feel like we know him by now.
We're like, Robbie.
Yeah. He shot. I got to show you a picture in a break. I forgot I had it on my phone. He shot an elk, and he's got the head, and it came in the. They're like, "Hey, can you help us move it?" I was like, "Yeah, no big deal." The thing was massive, and we put it up on the table. I mean, it was. Was
this in Spain?
No, this was in Montana.
Okay, that makes more sense. I didn't think they had elk in Spain.
What he shot in Spain, the Rams. Some specific ram. I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever. He's a hunter, I guess.
A lot of death.
Yeah. But this thing was gigantic. I couldn't believe it. I don't even know how they're going to get it on the wall. I mean, it's massive.
Yeah.
And they live in a big house, but still, you're like, holy cow. But my point being, LP, was the fact that
I get it.
They got to standard those QBs, and they don't know, especially the blind side.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
You see sometimes where I'm like, my whiplash. I feel like I get whiplash watching the way they get hit. Yeah.
Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Denver.
I remember,
Was
right?
it Denver?
When he got the one that we thought it was a
late hit.
Yeah.
Or, was it a penalty?
I think it was against Denver.
Yeah.
And the Broncos fans were chirping that they didn't think it was a late hit. And they showed it on the replay.
Totally
and we were like,
late.
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And when
So
you are
anyway.
6'6", it feels like, and you're a little bit like Gumby,
Yeah.
like your body is a little bit more reactive.
Well, and it's interesting because I know a lot of times when they say when you're like bracing for the contact, it's almost worse because like in a car accident,
Correct.
if you know, a lot of people are more injured if you know it's coming because your body tenses up. So maybe it's good sometimes when you're not ready for it, but it looks painful when you see it on TV.
Well, look, again, the reason why, not landing on him, I don't like that. I think that's a tackle, but you get why. Because if you're a QB and you got to stand in there and take that shot
from a
and then he lands
285-pound
on
guy,
you know, there's a good chance you're breaking your collarbone or spraining your AC joint, right? Which is in the shoulder. So, and that takes you out for a year.
Yeah.
So.
And even with all the precautions, we can go down the list of quarterbacks, star quarterbacks that have missed a significant amount of time, if not, close to a full season based off of these types of injuries. And that's with all of the rules that are in play now to try and prevent these injuries. Imagine if we had the old rules.
Oh, they were great. Because you could bloody them, you know, and it was no big deal. And they were like, it's almost like a thing of badge of courage. Like, look at my chin. I got a split back in 1985. You know what I mean? Like that was a thing. But it just goes to show you how important it is to protect that QB, man. And that's why, look, Walker Little took the left tackle position, number 1 yesterday. Of course, CVL not out there, but it was the same usual suspects. Which I'm not saying it's bad. It's just,
And for
left to
OTA
right.
number 1, even if Pregnon ends up starting, Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard that the Jaguars drafted this year, even if he ends up being the starter, we're not going to see that in the very first OTA.
They wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't.
There's still this rule, and Tom, you can speak to this more, of an unwritten rule, I should say, where the veterans have earned more than the rookies have, right? Like, I think last year when we got to mandatory minicamp, Travis Hunter, I think of all the rookies, was the only one that was with the ones.
Yeah.
And I can say this now because enough time has expired. But of all the rookies that they drafted, he was the only one that was getting playing time with the starters, because I do think there still is that the veterans have been here, they've earned it, and we want to bring the rookies along a little bit slower.
Yeah, and I think it depends where you get drafted.
Yeah.
Also, I was about
and
to
if
say
you're
that.
one of the top picks in the draft, they're going to be like, all right, we'll pencil you in right away. Or that coach will say, no, I'm going to make him earn it. Just start him on team number 2. He'll be second team. No big deal. If he's good enough, he'll be up there. We think he will be. Now, if you have a void at that position, then you put him right in.
Sure.
But if you let's say you had a left tackle and you drafted a left tackle, you may say, well, this guy's been here a few years. I might I'm expecting the rookie to beat him.
Yeah.
That's why we drafted him, or we wouldn't have drafted him.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting
not
him
You
to
this
beat
got
him.
to
early.
beat them. Yeah.
Like right now, like you said yesterday, it's still install. So the
Yeah, they're
veterans
not even-
understand exactly what they're supposed to do, whereas the rookies are still learning. All right, so Josh Hines-Allen was not at practice yesterday. We surmised that maybe he was in Arizona training because that's what he does. He posted on Instagram that he was in New York City at a deli. So that's where he was. I don't know what he's doing in New York.
He's not working
Can't
out in
speak
Arizona.
to that. I just know
There's a
that.
heat wave up there. He's right now.
I just know that at least as of yesterday, that's where he was. And then for Chris Rodriguez, Liam spoke to it. His exact quote, injury report will come out at some point. That to me is a signal that there may be some sort
injury.
of injury to Chris Rodriguez, which certainly is unfortunate for this young Jaguars running back room.
Hopefully it's an injury that he's healed up, gets healed up quick.
Right.
And not missing too much time. They're counting on him. Although look, the backs look fine. It's funny. It was great seeing everybody out there, no doubt. And they do look like I was thinking about this. Remember Del Rio used to say perception is reality, right? So last year when I was like looking at the team in early, well, maybe not OTAs, but at camp, I didn't think playoff team. I just didn't feel it. You know what I mean? Yesterday you look around and just kind of feels like a playoff team. But now part of it's because
13 wins,
the 13
and they made the
wins.
playoffs. Yeah.
And then they've shown it. So, but it did feel like, okay, look, everybody around the National Football League right now is in love with their team for the most part. They look good. They're in shape, most of them. Some got bigger, some are stronger, maybe got a little faster. You know what I mean? So we're all going to be like, oh, well, look at him. And we don't know anything yet. We have no idea.
Yeah.
Until they get into it a little bit further. But
And even in training camp, we didn't know what we thought we knew last year.
Yeah.
So we always have to preface it with that too.
Yeah, and I think too when you're looking at a team who you're like, okay, you won 13 games and you feel like there was still a lot of things that could be fixed when it comes to the run game. We've talked a lot about, especially in the second half of the season. The defense, obviously, the run defense was great, but you couldn't get to the quarterback, and the secondary wasn't super consistent and struggled down the stretch, especially Trevor Lawrence in the first half of the year had his struggles. Obviously, that all straightened out later. You had a ton of drops throughout the season, especially in the first half. So I think in your mind, it's easy to be like, okay, well, you won 13 games with a good amount of problems. So if you can fix at least half those problems, then it feels like you should be a team that contend. And that's where the other side of that comes into, okay, well, yeah, I feel like in a year or two with this, when teams have film on Trevor Lawrence and Liam Coen's offense and they're figuring some of this stuff out, you do need those drops to go down. You do need to run the ball better. The line needs to be a little bit better. The secondary needs to be a little bit better. You need to get to the quarterback. So there are some things that you are going to want to see, in my opinion, this year to be able to replicate how it looked last year.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it starts with Liam. Just look, one thing you noticed yesterday, it's like in all of their practices, there's a sense of urgency. Day one, sense of urgency. Coaches are coaching them up. I mean, getting after guys, making sure they're doing the drills the right way. And it's not like, hey, let's just come out here and run around and break a sweat. It had purpose. It had that right energy. Yeah. And that's, look, you can tell, and I know the Liam, you've been hearing from Liam last night and today. Frank did a great job at the end of it. I heard it live. It was fantastic, but he's going to make him earn it. And it's funny. I was listening to guys on the way in. They're like all excited. I'm like, it's just accountability. That's all. It's great. I don't know why every coach just doesn't have it. Yeah. But I like what he says. It's inspiring to hear him because he's saying it to the team, and he's saying, "Hey, look, no, we're not resting on our laurels, right? We're gonna go start from day one and earn this thing again."
Also,
and
last year you didn't win anything.
Right.
Like, yes, you made the playoffs, but you didn't win a championship. Yeah, okay, you won the AFC South, I guess. Okay, fine, they won something, but you know what I mean.
But you could, if you don't have the right accountability in place, you could say, "Well, we're a playoff team, and we're just gonna get back." You know what I mean? And then you get punched in the face, and you wake up one day, and you're like, "Okay, I was wrong." You don't just make it back just because you made it the year before. Some teams do. We did 4 years in a row. Yeah. But you have to start over. Like that next year.
And it starts with the head coach.
Yeah,
it didn't let y'all walk in and say, man, we're feeling ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
We're reading our press clippings, which I think has happened here in the past. And again, that's where I've said this before, Taylor. That's why I'm so glad Tony Baselli is a part of this. I don't think we would have Liam Coen and James Gladstone if he wasn't a part of it. And by the way, great job, like you mentioned, to Frank, who interviewed not just Liam Coen, but also James Gladstone and Tony Baselli. If you missed any of those, catch those on demand on the Frangie Show yesterday. But Baselli can talk to Liam, not just Liam reading on Wikipedia what happened in 2022 to 2023 and prior to that, 2017 to 2018. He can tell him, I was calling these games along with Frank and Logman. This is what broke down. This is where the team struggled. And that to me is a huge asset to have that past experience to be able to help shape the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think as obviously your goals and expectations start to rise as you feel like you're building a product that is consistent. And that's been one of the biggest issues here in Jacksonville is these little glimpses of hope and then things kind of unravel. And so if you trust in Liam Coen and James Gladstone and this whole staff now and how they're building this product, then in that your expectations should be higher. It shouldn't. Last year you were kind of like, we don't know. Trevor's got to get better. A lot of things have to get better. It kind of felt like things were in that weird limbo of, you've got some good players, but can you get all these players to play well together?
Yeah, right.
And I think so there was a lot of that. And then you win 13 games. And so then next thing that turns into, okay, cool, 12, 13 games would be nice, but you need to win a playoff game. And from that, it turns into winning multiple playoff games. And, so when you talk to other organizations that have won a lot and consistently make it into the postseason, that making it to the postseason isn't enough for that. I mean, you go talk to Green Bay fans right now, they're miserable. They're like, no, who cares if you get into the postseason? And so that's when things start to change. And I think that's also a good thing because that means that you trust in the product and your expectations are higher because you truly believe that they can meet those and reach those. And I think that's kind of the level where we're at now. So the standards may be higher, and Liam Coen clearly is saying they are because he's not like, we're not going to be complacent in this situation. And I love that because I feel like in the past they did, not only the players, but the coaches.
Yeah. I mean, look, the 1 year, was it 23? Oh my gosh. It was like, they were talking about amongst themselves breaking records. You're like, you guys haven't done anything. What are you doing? Their heads were so in the clouds.
It's because they had gone through the Urban Meyer just
Well,
awful
they won the year
season.
before, and it was a great way to win. And they had the comeback and the run, and you did get off to a good start, But man, that's when you gotta make sure the head's on straight. And that head coach comes in handy with that, and you get the right players involved, and then you go out there and you make sure you earn it every year. So I just think, look, his dad, Liam's dad's a big factor. I bet you he coached pretty hard. Back then in the day, you could. Nobody was crying home to mommy, and if they were, their ass was sent home for crying, and then their parents kicked them out of the house for crying, and then they were on their own. No, I'm kidding. But
now they just transfer.
It was different. It was, and you can have that today. That's what Liam's showing. New way to deliver. Old school way of making sure we're held accountable. And it's a beautiful thing because guys do want it. Yeah. It's not like players don't want that structure and accountability. The Wild Wild West sounds all fun and good until you don't win. Yeah. And then you're like, well, we got a bunch of good players, but we don't win anything. So it sucks around here because we're not winning. And then when you get the structure and you see, oh, wait, if we do this, this, and this, and then we start winning, oh, that's so much more fun. We all want to win. I mean, we all want our contract. We all want accolades. But at the end of the day, if you're not winning, it's miserable. You go 5-11 or 5-12. You know what I mean? Like
even this
you don't
job
make the
is miserable.
Yeah,
when
right.
the team's not winning and we're not out there grinding. Liam Coen did confirm they will practice against all three of the preseason opponents, which we had heard. And he went and confirmed that. Which I think that's good as far as getting that physical work ahead of time. The other reason I think Liam Coen is humble or not going to be complacent is his career trajectory wasn't like maybe a Sean McVay, where he rose to be a head coach in the NFL very quickly. He had to move a lot and go through a lot of different jobs to finally get the one opportunity that he got here in Jacksonville. And so I think that filters in that background and what he's been through also goes into how he's going to coach these guys. You haven't arrived. And just because I'm the head coach doesn't mean I don't have a lot to learn. Right. And I think too, that we talk about the 13 wins and it's great. But the teams that I think take those leaps and bounds from one year to the next, like the Patriots and the Seahawks that made the Super Bowl, look at all the different things that they did. And I don't mean you just have to spend money in free agency, but you rework and tweak a lot of different things because you're not satisfied with how many wins you had the year before. You have to be the team that is holding up the Lombardi trophy at the end of the year. And how much separates you from the team that won it all? Well, you only scored 12 points against them in the regular season. Regardless of what the rest of the AFC looks like, you have to compare yourselves to the team that won it all. And the other team that was really close to the Super Bowl as far as the NFC is concerned kicked your freaking butt. All right, more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
What Jacksonville Jaguars player has scored the most touchdowns?
Southern Oak Insurance is proud to continue offering coverage statewide. Financial stability makes Southern Oak Insurance a wise choice for your homeowner's insurance needs. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
With 81 touchdowns scored in his career, Maurice Jones-Drew is the all-time touchdown leader for the Jaguars. Fred Taylor is second with 70.
Southern Oak Insurance.
Looking for ways to save on your JEA bill? We're on it. When it comes to your utilities, the less you use, the more you can save. That's why JEA offers ways to help you manage your usage and avoid higher than expected bills. Use our online tools to monitor your usage throughout the month. Schedule a free irrigation or energy efficiency assessment and get personalized tips to save. And with JEA rebates, you can save when upgrading to more efficient equipment. Find more ways to save at JEA.com.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialists performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
Hey guys, Prosser here. When you need new windows or doors, you want high-end quality without the middleman markup. That's exactly why I'm telling you about Cash Building Material. Same premium materials, same beautiful finishes, but at a price that actually makes sense for your home. No subcontractors, no runaround, just their own experienced crews who treat your house like it's theirs. Get a quote today, thank me tomorrow. For windows and doors, search Cash Building Material. Windows and doors done right.
Hey folks, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods, a Jacksonville family business for nearly 70 years. Heck, I've been talking about them for over a decade. The Thompson family's secret, Dandy is never frozen. Always fresh baked bread with quality meats and cheeses. No dry, crumbly subs here, only soft and tasty deliciousness. When I see that logo with the little guy with the cane on the label, it tells me I'm getting a trusted brand and a quality sandwich. So do what I do, stop in at a Circle K and make yours a Dandy today.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com. Where quality and customer satisfaction.
Hi, Frank Frangie here, inviting you to join my wife and me June 22nd of 2027 as we experience the food, wine, and culture of iconic Italy with Colette. Our journey takes us to historic cities and enchanting medieval towns. We'll enjoy a wonderful 7-night stay in the Montecatini Term A famous resort and spa town nestled in the heart of the rolling hills of Tuscany. Visit the cultural treasures of Florence, Pisa, and lovely Lucca. Along the way, we'll discover the food, wine, and old world charm, and even have a special chef-led cooking class. This and so much more. Colette handles the details, flights, hotels, meals, and the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining my wife and me in Italy. Now, to learn more, visit 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Come away with me.
That's 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
'Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night light. Shoes on, get up in the morning.
By the way, there's an article on NFL.com, and it says top 8 candidates to dethrone Super Bowl champion Seahawks in 2026.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, the Jaguars are not on that list.
Really?
That
Is Houston?
correct. The Texans are also not on the list.
Okay.
I can go through it for
Interesting.
you if you'd like.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, so
Why not?
number 8, the Chiefs. Number 7, the Lions. Number 6, the Broncos. Number 5, the 49ers. 4, the Eagles. 3, Bills. 2, Ravens. And 1, Rams.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
just as we talk about how the Jaguars are perceived here versus nationally, what we expect them to
Mhm.
achieve, what the national media expects to achieve, certainly not one of the 8 teams, again, that they expect.
Right.
To be the
Well,
Seahawks.
again, it's just that matter of, in their eyes, we didn't do anything to better our team.
Right.
Whatever they're right or wrong,
Sure.
that's their opinion. I'm thinking all right, so Baltimore, okay, you get a
Yeah, I
healthy.
think they're throwing Chiefs and Ravens back in there because you're going to.
Yeah, and
You're
you
going to
get-
put Mahomes and Lamar
Yeah.
back in the postseason.
And Trey Hendrickson to the Ravens probably threw them, up there.
And the
You're
Rams
ex-
were close.
Yeah, and you're expecting KC. I mean, if Mahomes healthy, you're expecting them to be back, I would imagine.
The Eagles, to me, I don't know that I'd necessarily
Yeah, I
have
don't
them
know
in
if
the
I'd
top 8.
Yeah,
The 49ers, I suppose, if they stay healthy.
I would put them there.
The Broncos made it far last year, but I
And then
always
lost their
felt like they were a
quarterback.
little bit
Gotta
of
have
a
their QB.
Yeah, they
contender
lost their
versus a
QB.
contender, but that's just how
I'm
I feel.
surprised we're
They
not
beat
in
the
there.
team the Jags couldn't beat in the postseason.
That they
so.
did.
Yeah, right. Is New England in there?
No,
Yeah, they shouldn't be in there.
they are not. So yeah,
Yeah.
just as well, again, as we
Okay.
talk about what we expect, certainly
Yeah.
yes, Ventrell Miller has a huge role to fill. Bashal Tootin and Chris Rodriguez and LaQuint Allen and maybe Jamari Taylor, DJ
Mm-hmm.
Douglas, they have a huge role to fill as well, based off of guys that are not here anymore. And there were no massive splashes for the Jaguars. So yes, that's why they're not going to look at the Jags as being one of those teams. But of course, that is what we expect. I think we expect the Jags to be one of the last 8 teams standing, if not get beyond that.
Yeah.
All right, time now for Tom's take.
Now, Tommy's Takes. Protected by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com, or dial #law. That's all.
All right, my take today on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon is I know a lot of Duvalians out there feel good about what that head coach had said here in Jacksonville about anytime, any place, anywhere. It reminds me of after the Seahawk game about a decade ago when the defensive lineman was going to crawl up the fence, remember the side of the building, and fight those two guys from Duval, and they were like, "Yeah, come on, man!" Like they weren't running, they weren't going anywhere. They're like, "If you come up here, we're fighting you." And I feel like that's Duval. You know what I mean? It's so the way that people are built. Anytime, any place, anywhere. I embrace it. I love that Liam's embraced it because he's figured it out quick, what gets people going around here. And I know for me, and I can speak for you guys, I don't want to speak for anybody, but I know you guys feel the same. And a lot of people out there, man, you love this. Anytime, any place, anywhere is absolutely correct. And that's my take, brought to you by Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
When you said about a decade ago for the Seahawks player, Quentin Jefferson, I was like, that was
more than
2017,
which is almost a decade.
And then I was like,
Wow.
oh no.
Yeah. Was it 2017?
We're gonna be talking about Jacksonville this time next year when the Jaguars are playing
10 years
Orlando
ago.
as 10 years ago. That does not seem humanly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was great.
It is. And I think that to your point, Tommy, it's, they wear the DTWD on their shirts and hats for a reason because they do feel that. And it's not just Jacksonville. I feel like the world kind of makes fun of Florida and Florida embraces
Florida
that.
man.
We're like, okay, like we're fun. We're having a great time down here, by the way.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
nobody cares what you think about us.
Yeah, we wrestle gators on the highway.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's what we do.
Which, by the way, James Gladstone does not like the snakes and lizards and stuff. He made a comment, I guess, saying I'm not quite used to the reptiles in Florida yet, which is kind of funny. But I guess if you don't live snakes,
but
I'm not a big
funny,
snake person.
I do talk to a lot of people that don't like lizards.
No,
like, lizards scare them.
and there's certain areas like up north, there's not. In the Midwest, you're not seeing lizards, and so my grandma is terrified. Like I remember coming into the house in college, and she's standing on the table screaming. I thought it was a big snake because that's the only thing in my mind that I would be like react. Maybe a roach because I don't like roaches. But she's screaming at the top of her lungs, and I'm like, "What is it?" And it's the tiniest little lizard, and I'm like, okay, and I pick it up and I put it out on the porch, and she's like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like,
"Brave soul."
Yeah, I don't understand. Like people are like petrified of spiders. Anything you can stomp on, I don't know why you'd be scared.
Oh no, I don't.
You know
like
what I mean?
them.
Like you just stomp on.
Well,
they
it
jump and
depends
they'll
on how
attack you.
big the spider is too.
We have anacondas around here. I mean,
Yeah,
Thank
there's some
goodness.
big spiders. You should have seen the one. Remember when I moved into my new apartment? This thing
Yeah.
was bigger than my hand.
Ooh,
this spider in my house.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, I had to
Gotta get a
call my
good
dad
shoe
one
for that
time. There was a spider that was about the same size on the wall in my shower, and I was like, "Nope." Called my dad, and he likes to save spiders. Like a lot of times in the house, I know.
Here, spider.
He'll take a piece of paper and a cup, and he'll put the cup over the paper. I mean, over the spider.
Yep.
Slide the paper under the cup, keep it like that until he takes it outside and sets it free. And so, growing up, we had a bunch of live oak trees, so there were banana spiders that would get in the house, and those are not going to do anything to you. So he would save all those.
Yeah.
And then this one time when I called him, I was expecting the same thing. And then he killed it, and I was like,
You're like, oh, that's not a good one.
No more SaveTheSpiders.org, Dad.
Brown recluse.
Recluse. Yeah, they're bad. You gotta
I was like, good thing I saw that.
Do you guys check your shoes for spiders? I always check my shoes for spiders. Like if I
No,
leave
but
them out
now
the
I
garage.
probably will.
Yeah, no, I always do. I don't know why. You never know. Like,
Never
what if
thought
there were
about it,
some
but
I
now
wear
I
more
will.
flip flops and sandals, so those. But you're right. I guess like anytime I put tennis shoes on,
tennis shoes? I don't know. Especially if I leave them in the garage.
Now that's
like
a different
workout,
story.
and then
Yeah.
I gotta check them. Make sure there's nothing.
Yeah, we
no
just
critters in there.
I had to vacuum it up because we were too scared to even get too close. So you have one of the attachments that's like the long hose on the vacuum. So I'm like as far away as possible trying to vacuum. And then even after that, I was scared because I'm like, what if it didn't kill it? And now it's just in the vacuum, and then it's gonna have babies, and then they're gonna get everywhere. And so I was so paranoid about. I don't do
I always
spiders
run
and
it
roaches.
a lot of extra after, like the vacuum
just
part. I'll be like
really
for like a whole
spin it
minute.
around.
Yeah, this thing has to die.
Like Tommy and the waves.
The helicopter whip.
By the way,
neck's still
speaking of
sore.
spiders, I finally read that story that RJ sent us about Kobe and the Black Mamba, about how the original advertising for the Black Mamba and that Air Jordan 19 was supposed to be for Michael Jordan. But then years went by and nothing really happened because Jordan was afraid of spiders and did not want to be anywhere near spiders. And then eventually Kobe, thank you, snakes, not spiders.
Yeah.
And then eventually Kobe ended up, obviously I have spiders on the brain, Kobe ended up with the ad campaign. And I did not know that he most likely died without ever knowing that Jordan was the original person that was supposed to be connected to the Black Mamba.
Interesting.
Yeah, snake
I always thought he
mentality.
just earned that nickname on his own. Like he
I
was
did too.
just so
That's
good
cool.
at basketball. He called him Black Mamba. I don't know. Fast and deadly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Super
Those
fast.
Mamas are fast and deadly.
He's Black
You ever see
Mamba.
the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting article. Go check it out if you haven't read it. All right, more to do on the other side, including Lauren's Lane. Don't go anywhere. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Munoz became the first Bengals player to be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
This is Anthony Munoz, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and you're listening to 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Summer's almost here, and that means it's grilling season. Before you overpay at the big box stores, make a stop at Houston's Meat Company on Main Street and 295. For more than 50 years, Houston's has been Jacksonville's local butcher shop, serving up quality meat, incredible prices, and the kind of service you just can't find at a grocery chain. Steaks, burgers, chicken, ribs, whatever's on the grill this weekend, Houston's has you covered. Shop local, grill better. Make Houston's Meat Company part of your weekend tradition.
Hey, Gate fans, power up your meal with an electrifying deal. MyGate Rewards members can snag a Monster Energy for just $1 when you buy any made-to-order entree. Breakfast bowl or pizza, it's your choice. Just add a Monster and boost your day. See store for details.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call now for your free evaluation and see if multi-unit hair grafting or PRP can restore your hair. Call 904-777-IHRS.
My bald spots are gone. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS is the only clinic in the Southeast to offer all proven solutions to restore your hair and is now offering multi-unit hair grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair. I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mokama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mokama magic is what it's all about. Mokama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mokama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
1, 2, 3, go!
Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Going to talk a little hardball now with a twist.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
I'm going to guess that the name Abner Uribe means something to Taylor Dahl. Tom, you
Arribe.
You may or may not have seen this, but once I explain it, you'll remember. So he's a pitcher for the Brewers, and the Brewers are playing the Cardinals. The Brewers are up 6-0, and Uribe gets the strike, so he thinks Cardinals review it, but thankfully for Uribe, it ends up being a strike. It was just on the bottom right corner.
Okay.
But that's a good thing because he did some expletive signals towards the opposing dugout.
Oh.
Yeah, called a blank chop. You can imagine that other word. And so
okay, I don't know if I'm down with this slang. the chop.
So
we go walk by.
Like, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that's what that meant.
Now you got it. You can you can Google it if you want to.
Yeah, right.
Abner Uribe.
Okay.
But it's hilarious to me in the sense that he apologizes after the game because, of course, like you have to and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we've ever seen something like this. We've seen some vulgar language recently with Pico Armstrong, and we've seen base brawls left and right. I don't know that I've ever seen something quite this demonstrative coming out of a pitcher. But you know what? It's 2026.
Very WWE. Back in the day, was he would like Triple H, and they would always do that, double that thing. Yeah, I think they just said "suck it" back then, but that's they just do that like double motion. But that's what I picture is just very wrestling.
Right, but so not like in baseball, there's all those unwritten rules, and it's not like golf with like a certain amount of etiquette, but there's still like certain things like pitchers typically don't even do anything to the dugout other than maybe like, yes, let's go, and then they'll go off, and even that is thought of as like, ooh, that pitcher was a little aggressive towards the opposing dugout. Like this is taking it to another level.
Like flipping your bat takes off the other team kind of stuff.
But I feel like that's gotten a little bit more like people have gotten more acclimated.
We are seeing more and more like celebration, like very blatant celebrations in baseball. Like every team kind of has their little thing to where like they get on base and they do it towards the dugout or towards the pitcher and like things like that. And so it's definitely, they're coming a little more chirpy than in previous years. And I'm sure there's a lot of things involved in this. I'm sure like the social media in general, because now certain celebrations have gone viral and the fans will do it when certain players get a hit or whatever the case may be. And so I think we'll see, honestly, probably more. This is probably the start of things like that.
The old heads won't like it. They'll be like, that's no
They cry
place.
about the bat flips,
I don't know how
too.
I feel. I don't know. It's a little taunting. And
I guess,
now
that's what
granted,
it
if you
is.
taunt and the other pitcher gets up there and whips it at your head, that's your problem.
Well, and that's probably their
You know?
thing is like they can hit us, so why can't I just do a little hand gesture? Like their way to get at us is to hit me with the baseball, and so I'll just do a little hand gesture when I get it.
You can come up with some others.
I mean,
You know?
I just wonder.
That's F you.
Yeah. For the families that are in the audience, like 6-year-old kid, like
Dad,
mom.
what's that?
He's like, I don't know.
Now he's doing that at school the next day. Whatever. I don't care about that part. Baseball, by the way, is a funny game. The Rays swept the Orioles less than 2 weeks ago, and now have lost 2 games in a row to the Orioles. And on Sunday, they lost to the Yankees 2-0. So they've now lost 3 in a row, which I know for Cubs have lost 10.
Hold their
Cubs,
beer.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Cubs are saying. But last night, it reminded me so much, the Rays-Orioles game, of the game that I told y'all when Russell Sandifer, the Florida pitcher, was out against Georgia in the second inning, and a ball that was hit 105 miles per hour hit his forearm. So, 105 miles per hour. Last night, it was a baseball thrown by Griffin Jacks, and it was a comebacker at 107 miles per hour, but it hit his back. He was able to kind of like spin a little bit, but then it hit the middle of his back. He dropped and was on the ground for like a full minute or two. He did end up finishing that second inning, but then left with the back contusion. And it's just wild to have seen this twice now.
That's crazy.
In less than a week. But at the end of the day, now the Braves do have the best winning percentage in all of baseball because the Braves won yesterday. Well, I said the Rays.
What do they tell pitchers like on their follow through? Like just get your glove up, like because it could come right at you. Clearly,
If you, depending on where you are when the ball is getting back to you. But
a lot
if
of
you
them
can
will
get your
you
glove
can
up,
tell like they'll catch it sometimes and they're like that was an accident. Hand
totally.
up, just like
put it up
protecting
there.
themselves.
They also tell them try to get down.
Right.
But again, it just depends on.
I mean, turning your back, man. That's that's gotta sting.
But with as much velocity as they have, sometimes they're, I feel like, almost like spinning slowly when they finish throwing the ball. So
their back's exposed.
I don't want a ball coming at me that fast.
No, definitely not. I don't want to be swinging at it personally, and I don't want it coming back at me. That's not the sport for me, but I love baseball, obviously. And but it is funny because you talked about the Braves. We have a joke right now, and I mentioned yesterday about how the owner of like the Billy Goat Tavern died, and since he died, the Cubs haven't won a game. So like that's a whole thing. But then now my friends have been joking about, because you remember on Space Jam when like the aliens come and they take all the talent away from the team, and they were like, that's what the Braves did to us, because once we played the Braves, everything just spiraled out of control, and before that we had won 10 straight games. It's so frustrating. So the Braves stole all our talent.
2 10-game win streaks this season, and then now a 10-game.
So I saw an interesting thing too that I sent, which I don't think this is happening because I think we have way too many issues. But in 2017, the Dodgers had an 11-game win streak, 10-game win streak, and then 11-game loss streak during the same season, and then they ended up winning 104 games that year. I don't think that's going to happen to the Cubs, because I just think their pitching was already, and I said that for weeks before the show, like I was waiting for it to catch up at some point, and I was amazed they kept winning. So I don't think it's going to turn like that. Maybe they get another, bats come back alive at some point and they're not losing 10 straight, but it just looks like it's a little out of control. But that stat was actually crazy too, because it's going back to think you at some point in the season lost 11 straight games and ended up winning 104 is crazy.
Yeah. Also annoying, the errors. Like anytime your baseball team has errors, the Rays had 3 errors last night with 6 unearned runs allowed. So
those are unacceptable.
That is correct.
Some of them, or a lot of them are unacceptable. They should be.
And managers now, like not letting these guys just pitch sometimes frustrates me too. One of the guys the other night, Ben Brown, only at 80 pitches through 6 innings, had allowed one run, struck out 7, 1 walk, and Craig pulls him after 6. And I'm like, just let the guys go if they're pitching well. And I know there's other things like, okay, sometimes they're not as good against lefties or whatever the case may be, so they switch him out for that. But he only allowed 1 run and had 7 Ks and only had 80 pitches. Let him go, because you haven't been able to win a game. Try and get something going.
Like similar to analytics and kicking the field goal or not. Well, the book says take
go.
them out, and right.
Screen out, go for it.
You know what I mean? There must be something like that.
There's a ton of analytics, especially because of all the pitching injuries with elbows and things like that. They are cautious. But look, that's why they get paid.
You chop it at your elbow?
Yeah, that's my elbow going. I got loose bodies in my elbow. I got to have surgery. All right, I want to get into some college football when we return. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Take Jacksonville with you.
There's no place like home.
Listen to 1010XL away from home.
Oh, but anyway, Toto, we're home. Home.
Download the 1010XL and XL 92.5 FM apps for free on Apple and Android devices.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
The season doesn't start in September. It starts now.
Follow organized team activities.
Kept healthy by DEXA Fit Jacksonville and Cash Building Material. Roll through the off-season with AA Automotive on Richard Street and 1010XL.
River City Wrestling Con hits St. Augustine June 6th and 7th at World Golf Village. Meet Goldberg, Trish Stratus, and over 50 stars. Live matches, photo ops, and more. Tickets at rivercitywrestlingcon.com.
Hey, it's Greg. So I'm 3 weeks into Awaken 180 now, and I'm already down over 18 pounds. 18 pounds in 3 weeks. It's funny, I kept waiting for the part where this felt like one of those sad desk salads. 3 leaves, a tomato, and regret. But it hasn't. I'm eating its food I actually like, and now my sons are coming over and saying, hey, let me try that. And that's been a surprise. I thought Awaken 180 was kind of going to feel a little bit like punishment, but it doesn't one bit. I've got my coach Mandy helping me stay locked in, making adjustments, and keeping me from doing what I always did before. No pills, no injections, no fluff, just a simple plan I can actually follow and stick with. I kept saying, I'll do it next month, then next month. But then 3 weeks ago, I finally shut up and got started. Hacker, Matt, Mike, Amber, they all told me Awaken 180 works. And honestly, it's been even better than they said. So what are you waiting for? Do what I did. Call 844-346-1800 or go to awaken180weightloss.com.
Instant Keys is turning 25, a quarter century of saving the day when your keys mysteriously vanish.
Seriously, it was just in my pocket.
Or when that remote fob decides to quit working.
The dealership is such a hassle.
For 25 years, Instant Keys has been the go-to locksmith service for car keys, house keys, transponders, re-keys, and even high-tech smart locks. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you for honest, professional locksmith service. Use Instant Keys.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mortgage rates have dropped. They're expected to move lower. Home sales momentum is building. So now's the time to get your home ready to maximize your sales price. It's time to call Chad and Sandy, the proven experts to sell your home. Maybe you have concerns about putting your home on the market and getting it sold. Well, let me alleviate those for you. There's a real quick solution. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold or they will buy it. Call 414-6200. Or go to chadandsandy.com. You'll find out for yourself. Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home or mine. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Anthony and Mary in Palmco said, we needed to sell our home to move closer to family, but low cash offers weren't cutting it. Since we'd only bought a year earlier, options felt limited, but not for Chad and Sandy. Call Chad and Sandy today, or log on to chadandsandy.com.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by AMCO. Florida men's basketball will square off against Notre Dame in the November 17th opener of the Players Era 8 event at the Michelob Ultra Arena at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. The winner of that matchup will take on the winner of Houston versus Rutgers in the semifinal matchup on November 18th. 91 degrees at 3 o'clock. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
So glad I found you, so glad that you existed.
Going to this Wednesday afternoon, it is 3 o'clock. Time to talk some college football because we may have some common sense coming into not just college football, but college athletics. The Protect College Sports Act, written after months of negotiation, and this is a bipartisan act, meaning both the Republicans and the Democrats so far have agreed that it would limit athletes to transfer schools only one time without penalty. Hooray, we've been asking for this. Limit athlete eligibility to a maximum of 5 years. We've been asking for that. Prohibit former professional athletes from playing in college. G League dropout. We've been asking for that. And then prohibit schools from poaching a coach from another school during their sports season. We just saw that with LSU and Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, LSU getting Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss. And then finally, the bill would also give the NCAA and College Sports Commission legal cover to enforce a spending cap for how much each school can pay its athletes. As we know, they agreed last year on around $20 million, $21 million for schools to be able to pay. But of course, schools are spending way more than that on certain things because of private NIL. This, I feel like, is not, they said it's not an NIL bill. It's trying to finally get things to settle down in the world of college athletics. I love it. I don't understand why it's taking the government to get involved for this to happen. But we've talked about how the NCAA seems powerless in general. So I guess that's why it's requiring the government to action. But I love it. Pass it. Let's go.
I think, because they don't have, and we mentioned this yesterday, that one person over everything in college football that can say, let's do this for the better of college football and not the better of the conference or the program or whatever the case may be. Another note I saw off of that Brett McMurphy had tweeted saying the bill includes opportunity for schools to collectively pool rights. A minimum threshold of 75% of the 138 FBF schools must be reached to pool the rights. So even if the Big Ten and SEC don't sign off, the rest of the FBS did, it would be over 75%. So you're not having to need the Big Ten or the SEC to make this happen.
And the only reason I would imagine that they wouldn't sign it, even though I would imagine they would, but the only reason I could think is if they want to spend more and they don't want the penalty as far as being a cap, because obviously schools from those two conferences are the ones that we talk about spending
Can't
the
afford,
most.
yeah.
The LSUs and the not Texas Tech, but Texas, Ohio State schools like that. Texas Tech's one of the only ones outside of those two conferences.
I mean, look, I don't like the fact that the government's getting involved, but I mean, how much longer are they going to let these this whole thing go on without any true leadership? So I get it, that they stepped in and say, hey, we got to do something. This is crazy. I mean, it seems so common sense, but they can't figure it out because who knows?
Well, the NCAA, I think, and I've trash talked the NCAA for so long, but ever since the court ruled against the NCAA as far as the paying for players, that's when I feel like they just raise their white flags and they're like, we, as an organization, we can't police all of this now. So that's where they did obviously lose a lot of leverage and power. But at the same time, what they originally trying to do, the NCAA, was to create a fair environment and a level playing field for every sport and every college that's going to participate in the NCAA, whether it's Division I, Division II, or Division III. And so it just seems like maybe the Division III schools have it all pretty much worked out because they're not as far as involved as much probably in the NIL, the transfer portal, and things like that.
Yeah, and we've talked about a lot too about the pendulum just swung too much, and it used to be so much the schools and the coaches and that they had all of the power, and if the kid did want to transfer, it was a hot mess process trying to even get to go to a different school. And some students had valid reasons, whether it was family or health concerns, or the coach they committed to wasn't there anymore. And so this one, you still do get that one-time transfer. You just don't get to do it a million times or multiple times like we've seen. The 5-year eligibility, that's something we talked a lot on. Not having guys in 6, 7, 8, 9 years in college football, that just is starting to become too much. And so I do think they hit on all the points when it comes to the big issues that we've talked about that we think are altering the sport in the negative way. I think some of the things that have started to change and transition aren't technically bad, but there's certain things kind of holding that back, and all of these things, several of these things, I think are that, in my opinion. It was funny because
it's finally guardrails,
and that's what they say. They said the Lane Kiffin rule, which is the preventing coaches from leaving midseason. That made me laugh, but that's another one because I do think we talked about it, and it didn't technically affect this last season, but we did mention it at times of, okay, Lane's leaving, so what if they keep him out of the college football playoff because that coach isn't there, and they do believe that the coach, just like if you lose your quarterback or whatever. And so it didn't happen, obviously, and it didn't actually affect it, but there was talk about it, of the possibility of that happening. So to say that that could never happen, I think that they're thinking of that. They're also thinking of multiple things in general. But yeah, the pro players, that's another issue we've seen now of them trying to like come back and appeal things and go back and forth. Yeah, it's just too much.
It's not like we've seen it in football where players gone from the NFL back to college.
Yeah. I think they're also going to have to figure out the JUCO situation, because if they don't count it, then you're still going to get older guys playing college
towards
ball.
eligibility.
Towards eligibility. I think they should count it.
Right.
Hey, listen, you got to go to JUCO for whatever reason. Too bad. That's what you got to do.
I think it depends on how many games maybe they played in totality at the junior college level.
Yeah.
If they only played 2 games in the 2 seasons that they were in junior college, I wouldn't count that against them as far as their 5 years of
Why would they
eligibility.
play only 2 games, though?
Injuries. Let's just say as an example.
They go to JUCO and then they get hurt
but they're
a couple
able
of
to
games in and they miss a season.
That's a special situation.
Or the coach doesn't think that they work hard enough. They don't, and they probably wouldn't transfer up at that point in time, but just throwing things out. If it's a backup quarterback, they only play in 2 games in JUCO each season, and then they're able to transfer up like a Trinidad Chambliss. To me, there's a little bit of gray in that. But if you start 12 games, 10 to 12 games in JUCO, then that is a season of eligibility.
Yeah, you got to figure that out, because, I mean, look, you could get out of JUCO at age 20.
Sure.
Like some of these high school kids, I mean, it seems like everybody holds their kid back. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't know if it's everybody, but I know what you mean.
A lot of people, it feels like we'll just hold them back in 8th grade, and then they'll be better than everybody.
Like Brian and I talk about it.
Half the time, it doesn't even work out.
Yeah. I was born at the end of July. He was born early August. So we were 2 of the youngest. We went to different schools, but we were 2 of the youngest kids in our classes.
Yeah.
And he's told me, oh, yeah, kids I knew were held back because their parents thought they'd be better athletes if, they were held back. And I was like, that never came across my desk when I was 5.
No,
So what's so
definitely
funny is I just bookmarked this yesterday, and it was on one of the news stations. Said it was like shocking. A growing number of middle school athletes, mostly boys, are intentionally repeating 8th grade to delay their start in high school, giving themselves another full year to get bigger, stronger, and faster, which in turn dramatically boosts their chances at elite high school sports, college scholarships, and massive NIL deals, potentially worth millions. And so they have a whole story on that of the growing number. And I think of 8 million high school students in sports, only 7% will play in college. And they have all these numbers, but the number of kids that all of a sudden have repeated 8th grade is like increased by like 38% in the last couple years.
Yeah. Sometimes it
your
works out.
13-year-old is worth holding back a year.
Sometimes it don't work out. The kids catch up eventually.
Because they're going to
and
get
then it's,
millions.
it
I
doesn't
guess if
matter.
all your friends are, in the boy group circle or whatever, all the friends in their clique are being held back, that's one thing.
Everybody's like, let's do 8th grade again.
Yeah, it's different if your kid is the only one being held back.
No way.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
I
wanted
was
to
one of the
repeat. I would have
youngest
been
too.
so bored.
Me and my best friend Brendan, Kelly, we were one day apart. July 30th, July 29th.
Mhm.
We were the youngest on the team, and we were the 2 best on the team every single. It
Heck
didn't matter
yeah.
what sport.
Don't hold your kids back just for athleticism.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes I get it. If they're underdeveloped, maybe, but just to give them a leg up, those kids look. Eventually, it catches up. Because, you see it all the time. A kid could be a total stud in 8th grade.
Yeah.
He gets to senior year. Everybody's caught up to him, and he's not a stud anymore.
Yeah.
He's just another kid that's a good player. You know what I mean? So you just never know. I mean, I think parents get so crazy and caught up in this whole thing.
yeah.
Just let it play out the way it's going to play out. And if he or she's good enough to make it, they'll make it.
Yeah. Well,
They gotta-
especially now because money's involved.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Now
It
it's
is
more
wild.
Because high school money is involved in certain aspects.
But even though you hold them back, they might give them the leg up for that year. But then you get into high school and it kind of evens itself out. You know, see it all the time.
Concur. All right. So John Sumrall's comments from SEC spring meetings yesterday were hilarious. He was talking about holding 2 jobs at the same time for 3 weeks, obviously Tulane and Florida. While Tulane was in the College Football Playoff, and then he had already taken the Florida job. He said it was the dumbest thing he's ever done. Full disclosure, it was a bleep show. He didn't sleep a wink. He said during those 3 weeks, he said it feels like you've been drinking, mixing tequila, bourbon, and beer all at the same time.
Sounds
Exactly.
like a rough night.
That'll get you
Sounds
thrown up.
incredibly rough. So yeah, I think we probably will never see that again. A coach try and have
That's a
a
lot,
foot,
yeah.
in
Yeah,
both
that's
worlds.
a lot.
And then he also said he was not going to leave his team to coach another team. That's not a shot at anybody, but yes, of course it is. It's a shot at Lane Kiffin, who did just that, leaving his
Exactly.
team that had already made it to the playoff, and then leaving for LSU, which I saw Lane Kiffin said that had nothing to do with Ole Miss. It had everything to do with LSU. No offense, but at this point in time, everything that you do or everything that you say, it's just words. Like your actions speak a lot louder than your words. But look, if LSU wins, all of it will be forgotten.
Yeah.
That's for dang
Well,
sure.
hopefully not, though. Hopefully they don't. I mean, but he made some comment, too, about Saban being forced to retire. I saw that, too, and people were criticizing for that. And it was more so not, I know this happened, but like the way everything happened, it made it seem like by the end, Alabama just forced Saban. I was like,
for Kalen DeBoer? I mean, not that Kalen's bad,
but still, you had Nick Saban, and you're going to force him to retire. He could have stayed until he was 112 years old, and Alabama would have been like, we're good.
I mean, that would shock me, but we've talked about this before. Lane Kiffin sometimes says things that end up getting him in trouble and in hot water, and you know,
But he don't care.
No,
he surely does not. One other college football note: the NCAA denied Texas Tech Brendan Sorsby's request for reinstatement for eligibility, even though he did complete his 35-day inpatient rehab for his gambling addiction. His court date is June 1st in Lubbock County, and like we've talked about, the judge is a Texas Tech grad, so I feel like they're going to vote in favor of it. But then I still don't think Sorsby plays college football.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
my
think so
guess at
either.
this point in time.
Yeah, I don't think
Can he go in the? Is there any more supplemental draft or anything like that?
There is still a
Could there
supplemental
be
draft,
one?
so he could.
Is he that good?
He's good,
Could
but
be-
I'm
could
not
be
sure
good.
how much they're going to weigh the gambling stuff, because if you bring him onto your team,
Yeah.
what if he starts
NFL's
getting
crazy
other
about it,
guys
yeah.
into gambling? I mean,
we saw
we've
what happened to the Lions a few years ago. Half the team got in trouble.
And that's the problem. Like, if one person's obsessed with gambling, I would imagine. I was about to
Because
say,
they're
I
like,
would-
look what I did. Look at my parlay.
Yeah.
Look at this. I did see one tweet, and this lady was like, I wonder if he knows he's one parlay away from not even needing the NFL money.
I was going to say I would bet that he would get other people to gamble, but
That's
yeah, pun
funny.
intended. But yeah, the moment someone, anybody that we know that's obsessed with gambling, in the back of your mind, even if you don't do it, you're like, but I feel like I know what's going to happen on, games of my team, right? Like I know what's going to happen in Florida softball or whatever. And you're like, well, I could just put like a little bit down. And again, it like that person's infectious excitement about it and how much money
you
they
hit
win.
on one, and then you're like, oh,
right.
like,
I totally understand.
I mean, you hear stories like Jordan and Barkley gambling like crazy.
Oh, yeah. But they could afford that.
Of course.
But then you hear someone that win like $2,500 over something simple, and it's like, oh, well, I see how you get
could be
excited
like,
about
oh,
this,
yeah,
right?
You get a little taste of it, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
do
mini
Hard Rock
vacation.
Bet. I'm into it. It's great when
See?
you win.
Exactly.
Heck yeah.
All right, more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Life is a contact sport. Get in the game with 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio. Now, the Florida Gator Report on 1010XL. Installed by Cash Building Material. Windows and doors done right.
Florida hosts an NCAA regional beginning Friday when they face Ryder in the opening round. Miami and Troy, also part of the Gainesville Regional. If they win, they'll play again on Saturday at 6 versus the winner of the Canes and Trojans. The Gator softball season comes to an abrupt end, losing to Texas Tech in the rubber match in the Gainesville Super Regionals, sending the Red Raiders to the Women's College World Series.
Jeff Prosser here. When you need new windows or doors, you want high-end quality without the middleman markup, and that's why I'm telling you about Cash Building Material. Same premium materials, same beautiful finishes, but at a price that actually makes sense for your home. No subcontractors, no runaround, just their own experienced crews who treat your house like it's theirs. If you want it done right, the first time, get a quote today. Thank me tomorrow. For windows and doors, search Cash Building Material. Windows and doors done right.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I can tell you, in this financial climate, or really any, it's never been more important to make your money work for you, which is why I'll recommend Mike McGuire and the Wealth Management Team at South State Bank. Financial planning is based on trust, because it's so important. You can trust the South State team. They offer the best combination of sophisticated wealth management strategies with a truly personal approach. That will help you meet your financial goals. Stop by your local South State branch and ask them to connect you with Mike McGuire and the Wealth Management Team. You'll be glad you did. South State Bank, member FDIC.
World Cup soccer means every goal, every save, and every minute matters more. I'm JJ LaSelva from The Frangie Show. Join me on the 1010XL Soccer Show podcast with analysis of Team USA and all the drama from the FIFA World Cup, squared up by Twin Peaks.
Frank Frangie here. I've been telling you about Stanley Pools for years. But you know my favorite thing about this family-owned company? They take such good care of my pool. All I have to do is relax and enjoy it. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and their weekly maintenance makes owning a pool effortless. You can trust Stanley Pools to build your pool or upgrade it. They've done both for me. Call 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hi, this is Dr. George Bari, an orthopedic surgeon who is fellowship trained in sports medicine. If you are a young athlete or a weekend warrior, I treat you with the care and expertise that is needed to diagnose and treat your injury. Come see me at Bari Orthopedics to get the care that you need.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Bari and the entire staff at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com. And follow Doc on Instagram at Dr.GeorgeBari.
Spring means wings. That's right. The Spring Wing Fest is happening right now at Bono's Barbecue. Frank Frangie here. Bono's wings are the best around, and now they've got 2 new flavors, garlic, parm, and lemon pepper. Head to Bono's today and get 6 wings and a side for $10.99 or a 10-wing basket for just $15.99. But hurry, the deal ends June 30th. To find the Bono's near you, head to bonosbarbq.com. That's bonosbarbq.com. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
We were just talking some college football, so another college football update. 3 game times have been announced for the University of Florida. Against FAU at home, 7:45 kickoff. Against Campbell at home, 5:30 p.m. That one will be a little bit warm. And then at Auburn, 7 p.m. And, of course, you can hear all those games right here on 1010 a.m. and the AM stream. By the way, another college football note I meant to get to earlier. Laura Rutledge, after 10 years leaving SEC Nation, which had already been announced. We knew that, but we weren't sure who would be replacing her. And it'll be Matt Berry, who hosts both Sports Center and then also does some college football games on Thursday nights. It feels like it should be another female, right? Just because it's been Laura for the last 10 years and she does such a phenomenal job and she's so good at it. But I'm sure Matt Berry will do great too. Yeah. And I'm assuming it'll still be the likes of a Tim Tebow and a Jordan Rogers and Paul Feinbaum and all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's fantastic. She does a great job.
She does everything.
So many
and that's why I think after 10 years and 2 kids, she was like, okay, I've done sidelines and I've done SEC Nation every Saturday and I'm doing NFL games, sidelines in addition to the college ones. And I'm hosting NFL Nation Monday through Friday, which I saw just won some awards. So yeah, like you said, she does it all and she makes it all look so easy and effortless. But yeah, no more SEC Nation for our friend Laura Rutledge, Florida grad.
Well, speaking of the SEC, what do you think of Kirby Smart's comments
about breaking away? They
trimming the fat,
not trimming the fat,
building their own league.
That would be just the SEC, and so therefore there would still be some fat in your world, right?
I bet you they could add though.
Vanderbilt. If it came
if they
down
break
to
away, they're going to create. They're not just going to be by themselves. What are they going to do? Just play themselves?
I mean, I suppose if you read into his comments, that's what he was saying, is their 16 teams would go, and play each other all season and then have their own SEC championship game, and that would be the national title, is what it sounded like. But I don't really think he is meaning that. I think he's kind of threatening that because I think Kirby is old school and he's sick and tired of all this stuff. I think Kirby wants to recruit. I think he doesn't like the NIL. He doesn't like the transfer portal. He wants to recruit. He wants to coach football. He wants to develop
He doesn't
guys.
like that everybody gets it.
Yeah.
That's what the SEC schools don't like.
Yeah.
But everybody gets what?
The money. They get to pay now, and they get all these other things that SEC had kind of been like secretly doing for a long time that have been known. I mean, Ed Orgeron came out and said it. We've been paying players in the back door in the SEC.
Are doing it too. Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's schools
Michigan,
in both those conferences that are doing it. But like the coaches that seem frustrated, and not saying Kirby specifically, but I kind of jokingly posted and was like, fun times when the SEC wants everyone to have the same rules all of a sudden, when they kind of feel like they always want their own little specialties for themselves. But I do think that, and I think it almost is he's calling bluff in a sense of, okay, well, we're going to take away the SEC, and if we take away these schools from the SEC, then your product isn't going to be as good, so you don't want to lose us. And that's, like, to your point, kind of threatening the rest of college football in that sense. I don't know if he actually would want to do that. Like, I don't know. I would have to sit down and talk to Kirby to see that.
I think he's just tired of all this stuff. Like 18 or 4 teams to 12 teams to, okay, if you guys go to 9 games in conference, we'll go to 16 teams in the playoff. Yeah. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to renege on what we said we were going to do. And now we are going to talk only about 24 teams. But we already agreed to go to 9 conference games, and you guys basically lied to us. But, oh, wait, other people have been lying for years about other things, like the Big Ten's alliance once upon a time. And like I said yesterday, Sankey was kind of hiding the fact that Texas and Oklahoma were going to join and they were going to become this super conference before that was cool. And I think he literally just wants to play football and win football games. That's what I think. If Kirby could take all the other stuff away, and Nick Saban, I feel like that's why he retired.
Yeah, it is.
They're over it. And that's why if they could get into the NFL, I feel like that would be the best spot.
And I think I've said it before. I feel like maybe the prestige of going to those programs is wavered. It's not gone, but it's wavered. It used to be a thing, like getting recruited by Alabama. Well, today you You can get paid by Alabama. You get paid by Ole Miss. I don't need to go to Alabama. Why do I got to go to Alabama? I can go to Ole Miss. I can go
Texas
to
Tech,
LSU.
Indiana. There's a lot of schools.
Indiana.
That
I
can
could
pay
go
you.
anywhere.
If you want to go
that's
play
what's changed,
at
though,
a high level in the NFL, there are still certain schools like Georgia, not like Florida, not like my school, but like Georgia, where if you're, let's say you're the best defensive tackle in the country, and if you're your son that's the best defensive tackle in the country, where do you want him to go play college football? At Georgia. Because the pipeline to the NFL of defensive players from Georgia is better than every other school.
I could see that. I could see why people say. But me personally, if you're good enough, you're going to the NFL. I mean, you could play at Timbuktu and they'll find you. I mean, Brian Schwartz was a second-round pick. He played at Augustana in like South Dakota, like Division III, and they came to us. We're like, how did you make it? Like total stud, 6'4", 260, and you playing D3? You must have been killing everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I see what you're saying because they do have a pipeline. You see it, especially to Philadelphia. But I don't know. Like today, I think Indiana, like you said, it's shown that, hey, you don't have to go to these, like USC used to be a prestigious school. Nobody gives a crap about USC anymore. Notre Dame still has a little bit of it. I'm not a Notre Dame guy, but they have a little bit of it. I think the SEC still has some of that, but it's kind of just overall college ball. And I think that's why coaches like Nick Saban got out. Like, they don't want to deal with all this stuff. Like, I used to be able to go into someone's home and, holy cow, Nick Saban's here. Or fly to their practice. Yeah. Holy cow, Nick Saban's here. From Alabama, the national champions. Now,
I don't think they like that. It's leveling out a little bit, and
it has leveled out.
I think that they are used to. It's just this like holy grail of schools, and now it is okay. Well, especially if this continues to expand, because you're going to have conversations of, okay, I don't have to go to a top 10 school to make it into the college football playoff. And then what happens when you get in the college football playoff? Your name becomes more recognizable. And then the draft, you're more likely to get drafted. We saw multiple Indiana kids get drafted, and that's just going to continue to build. I don't think they like that it's leveling a little bit. And whatever. I mean, it is what it is. It comes to the point that Mike Elko said yesterday, where they're all doing it for themselves. That's what every single one of these coaches and programs and commissioners, that is your job. Like, your job is to protect your school and your program and your student athletes and your conference. And so you can't really fault them for that. But I do think that certain playing fields are leveling out a little bit, and the guys that got to just kind of cruise at the top for a while don't like it.
Well, look, again, you'll scoff, but you could see the SEC and the Big Ten breaking off and making their own thing, and it would be
but
great.
They don't like each other right now.
Yeah, they can't even get along.
They'll like it when the best of those they'd love to have Michigan and Ohio State in their conference. Are you kidding me?
But then they have to split the revenue with them.
So what? There'd be more revenue.
And by the way, if you only look at college football, it's one thing. But if you look at a lot of the other college sports, what conference is dominating? The SEC.
Yeah.
Softball, baseball, gymnastics.
Yeah, they don't count that much. I mean, in the whole scheme of things.
I'm just saying, if you're talking about breaking away, it's not just college football. It would be all of college athletics.
Well, maybe you just break away in college football. I mean, they've done that with basketball and football, right? I mean, you can be in the Big East in basketball and not in the Big East in football, right? Or Notre Dame can be everything else.
Only one.
But they used to be like that.
Yeah, Notre Dame, to my knowledge, is the only one that's in a conference for all the sports outside of one sport. Every other school is in a conference. I could see
football standing on their own. I mean, they don't need the other sports. The other sports need them because of the revenue.
Sure.
And you still give them the revenue, obviously, but maybe you just break off and make it the best of the best. I mean, the SEC, look, I think if you took, but what you're saying about the SEC is true, but you can also say that, I think, about other schools in different conferences. Before Texas and Oklahoma came, they were paying players. Give me a break. Of course, they were. Nebraska back in the day, I guarantee you
Florida
they were.
State, Miami.
Florida, they were all paying. Florida, of course. I mean, Freddie Taylor's a perfect
But there was
example,
known schools that had more money and were spending more money. And like I said, I just go through Ed Ogeron's comments. To me, stood out a lot because he was very vocal about what the SEC schools were doing specifically. So that's
what you go off. Did Cam Newton get paid at Auburn? The rumors were he got paid quite a bit at Auburn, like 180 G to go to Auburn.
He was kind of asked to leave Florida because of the laptop incident.
He get paid to go to Auburn, and they win the national title, right? And he was incredible. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, incredible player. But if they don't pay him that money, does he go to Auburn? maybe go somewhere else. I don't know.
Sure. And now that part is all legal. Yeah, I think it's a narrow viewpoint to only look at it as conference to conference. I think the college football landscape, the college athletics landscape has to be looked at as what's best for these student athletes. That, like, not school to school, what is best for the group of student athletes, because these are the people that we're supposed to be pouring our resources into. That's the reason we hire the best coaches and have all these facilities.
I wonder if they care about that anymore, though, LP, because it's such a
no,
business.
They don't. They care about the TV deals that then pay them as much money as possible.
I mean, I think they do in a sense of that's why NIL, that's why they're saying we're going to give schools $20 million to make sure that students can get paid. That's why we want to let them transfer as much as possible, because we are seeing so many unhappy students not being able to transfer and go after money or go after a coach or go after a title. And so I do think they do want the student athletes to be happy. I just think there's this weird when we talk about the guardrails, and that's why I'm glad that some of these are starting to be checked. Some of these boxes are starting to be checked, because it went from this world where it was the school and coaches had all the power to then all of a sudden the student. It has to be somewhere in the middle. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with the college athletes being paid. I think they should, but I think it's starting to get out of control, and that's what they're trying to reel back in. I don't know if they thought how crazy it was going to get, but they definitely swung rules in favor of the college athletes in a lot of senses when it comes to being able to transfer multiple times in 1 year. Like you could transfer in January and transfer again in April, and it didn't matter.
But they didn't make those rules for the student athletes. They had student athletes filing lawsuits in court because they weren't getting
That's what I'm saying.
wanted.
They were so unhappy, so they did it for the athlete.
But I'm saying they didn't change the rules for the athletes. They were forced to, because the government stepped in and said, this is against law. This is against the law. So therefore, and that's why then they said, I don't know if what's best, and this is more of a philosophical thing, I don't know if what's best for a student athlete is you can transfer as much as you want and here's $1 million. Like, at the end of the day, that student athlete may not graduate or even care about academics. That student athlete may that $1 million may go a long way, it may not. What's best for the student athlete is to go to a school where someone is going to pour into you, you're going to develop, and you're going to hopefully get some sort of education, whether you graduate or not.
Yeah.
But we've lost it.
Well, I agree. That's why I said the pendulum swung too far.
Yeah. Taking care of the kids money-wise, sure, but make them go get a degree. Although you don't today need a degree, I get that.
Sure.
But maybe some kind
but
of
at least education towards a degree.
You care about their future. Because, I mean, look, again, you're getting so much money, you're going to be fine, I would imagine. Like, you get paid millions and millions.
Some of them, but not most of them.
No, a lot of them will rip through it, but not, I don't know. I feel like the younger generation today might be a little bit, more in tune with, financial, because they have help.
Yeah.
I don't think we did. You know what I mean? I don't know. I had a financial advisor and all that, but it wasn't like in college they taught you. You know what I mean? I think they learned earlier.
But there's also
today.
now the social media where someone that's 20 years old gets $1 million. Like, all they want to do is post a picture of the expensive vacation that they go on, or car, or whatever,
True.
all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, interesting conversation. We've got the golden moment on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010X on 2.5 FM.
More videos, more podcasts, more Jaguars, preps, and college football. More of everything you love about Jacksonville sports at 1010XL.com.
Comic Man is here for Armstrong Fence Company, a locally owned and operated business on the First Coast for nearly 20 years. Known for reliability, quality craftsmanship, and professional service, Armstrong Fence handles it all, from big projects like stadiums and schools to your very own backyard. They build a wicked strong fence, and they do it right the first time. When you need a fence in Jacksonville, trust Armstrong Fence Company. Yeah, we did the fence.
You've probably heard the saying, it's not how hard you get hit, it's whether or not you get back up. Well, I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and I have a saying of my own. If you get hit with a personal injury or wrongful death, hit back and fight to make them pay. At Hastings Injury Law, we have the experience you want if you or a loved one suffer a car or trucking accident or wrongful death. Just call 904-HIT-BACK and we'll help you get up and hit back. Office is Jacksonville.
Looking for an exciting, fun-filled evening the whole group can enjoy? Discover the thrill of Sharks football. Fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. It's Star Wars night. Presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Don't miss this Saturday, May 30th, as your Sharks look to continue their winning ways. Kickoff 7 o'clock and tickets start at just $15. This is the fun you've been looking for. The first 1,000 kids receive a free lightsaber. Dress up as your favorite character and get photos with members of the 501st Legion before the game. The Force is strong with this deal. Try our family 4-pack. Get 4 tickets and $50 in food or merchandise vouchers, all for only $100. Join us on field after the game for our free autograph session, sponsored by Flight Adventure Park. Tickets start at just $15. To get yours, call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made.
Go Sharks! The Jaguars Foundation is hosting an intimate evening of community and conversation at the Sports and Culture Speaker Series presented by Miller Electric. Join us June 3rd for dinner, drinks, and conversation in the Miller Electric Center. You'll hear exclusive perspectives from Jaguars head coach Liam Coen and general manager James Gladstone as they talk culture, leadership, and building a lasting legacy on and off the field. To be part of the conversation, visit jaguars.com/community/events.
When you're vacationing in your RV, there are some things you can always count on. Taking the kayaks out on the lake, hot dogs on the grill, and your sister's boyfriend pulling out his acoustic guitar.
Everyone quiet! Harrison's playing. Wow, you're so good, Harrison.
With Progressive, your RV is protected 24/7, so you're prepared for whatever you don't see coming. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in D.C.
Hacker here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You know, the summer is here. In fact, I'm out on a little vacation right now with my family, and that's one of the great things about Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I'll talk about the coaching you get on Awaken 180. You know, some weight loss programs, what do, right? They just send you some shots. They say, all right, work it out. They send you an appetite suppressant, some sort of pill. All right, you're on your own. Not Awaken 180. You talk with your coach. Like my coach, Kate, every time I was on vacation, every time I had a family get together, we worked up a plan. We worked up something for me to follow, and then I would get right back on the program when I returned from vacation. It's one of the great things about Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and it's why I lost over 100 pounds. It's the best weight loss program I was ever on. They know life happens, but they work with you, and it's great. Go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Golden moment going back to some of the things that we are hearing out of college football, and specifically we talked a little bit about John Sumrall earlier in some of his comments. And so I think it'll just be interesting going forward. And I know someone like John Sumrall, which I saw, he had kind of said he was in favor for the 24-team playoff, was some of his comments that he had too. And so I mentioned yesterday, out of the votes, 8 of the SEC schools did say yes to the 24-team playoff. And then so it's interesting how this is going to end up playing out. But it does seem like the SEC in general is a little frustrated because I keep seeing that word misled being used. They felt like they were misled because it seems like the Big Ten was like, hey, if you go to 9 conference games, we'll do a 16-team playoff and that's it. We won't go to that next level. And then now they're battling that and have the rest of college football on their side. And now the SEC kind of looks like the one holding things back from the outside when it comes to that. So it will be interesting to see how all of this goes and what it ends up and how quickly this transitions. I mentioned yesterday, I just feel like I think you need to give time for things to live a little bit more to see the actual production out of them and what actually you want out of that. And I think that when you go from what you did with the 8 to 12 and the 12-team playoff, you do feel like especially this last year, you're like, okay, you could see why they wanted the 12 teams and you felt like it worked. You're going to have the arguments of who didn't get out, who didn't make it when it comes to like a Notre Dame and Texas, obviously, were the 2 bigger conversations this last year. But I do think that sometimes you just have to do it a little longer. You're not going to really see an outcome of a product after doing it for a year or two. That's just nothing in the world works that way.
No, for sure. I liked what Elko said. He was like, make it 40. I'll never lose my job.
Except that's not the case because we talked about this yesterday in the NBA. You had the Knicks who fired their coach after making it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. And then I joked that the Cavs were actually going to keep their coach. Like, shocking. But Sankey said, and we talked about this a little bit too, when professional sports have added to their postseason, it's always been a small adjustment. 4 to 12 in college was monumental, but I think it was justifiable. You want to be careful about how far you go, and that's the understanding of the competitive impacts, and maybe you bring more teams into the conversation and you make a judgment because at that point in time, you have different leverage. And so that's the thing. You don't go from 4 to 12 without a lot of discussion and the majority of athletic directors and presidents on board. And then it felt like the SEC came to the table and said, we are willing to go to 16 teams in the college football playoff. And here's why we think it makes sense. And yes, 9 conference games that other conferences are going to. You guys want us to do that? So it's a level playing field? Absolutely. And then there was never a conversation about 24 teams when the conversation was about 16 teams. At that point in time, the Big 10 or the ACC or the Big 12, none of them at any of those conversations said, well, no, we'd actually rather 24. They all said 16 teams sounds great. Yep. And then all of a sudden that wasn't enough. And so, again, we know the reason why, because Tony Petitti, the Big 10 commissioner, and the other commissioners are like, wait, we can make more money than going to 16 teams? Why would we not go to 24 teams? It's going to benefit all of our programs, or not all, but the ones that are able to make it, which really does then benefit them all because they all get a piece of the pie.
And the TV, you're on TV, there are a couple more weeks of television.
Yeah. And then those TV networks are willing to pay more. And you can go to, like we've seen with the NFL, you can go to Amazon Prime, you can go to Netflix, and you can say, we're going to take this portion. We're going to take round 1 and the play-in games, and you guys are going to get those. You're going to bid on them, actually, and whoever gets the highest bid, that's who gets it.
Yeah, and that's the little bit of a difference when it comes to comparing to other leagues is the sense of you have 138 teams compared to 32 teams or whatever the case may be. Almost half the NFL makes the postseason. So if you start to, you can't increase that too much, or just every team's getting into the postseason. So comparing those directly doesn't totally make sense to me. But I get where he's saying in the sense of
when they increase, like, because it used to be 6
I'm saying,
teams.
but it's the increase is like, if you're talking about percentage wise of how many teams are making it, it's really not. You're doing
not
the same
percentage increase, but when they increased in the NFL from 6
to 7
in each conference,
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying the percent that if you're talking about the teams though, because there's only 32 NFL teams, so now 14 make the postseason. So if you're saying 24 of 138 college football teams are going to make it, that's still not a lot. And that's what I'm saying.
As far as the percentages are concerned.
How many teams comparably to how many teams you have. So it's hard to compare the other leagues just because you don't have that many teams
that's
that even
when we trim
can
Tom's
get
fat.
into that's when you
go from 138 teams to, well, in college basketball it's 342 teams. But to like,
and they have 76
teams.
So it's it seems like they're more so, okay, let's more look at the amount of teams that can make a playoff in the NFL, how many teams are making the March Madness, and compare that to how many teams we have competing, and the chances that we want those teams to get into the postseason.
When the NFL went from 6 to 7, it didn't feel like that big of a deal, did it? You know what I mean? Like, where you go from 4 to 12, that's a big deal. Now, in comparison, right? Because of the number, it's like you say, the ratios.
The NFL did it after Major League Baseball did it. I want to say that the baseball increased the postseason, and then that's when the NFL was like, oh,
we could too.
Look at how many more markets are interested as the season winds down.
Would the NFL ever go to 8? Can you imagine
Probably.
the 50% going
you get
to that?
16 teams in there.
I mean, I'm
see them
surprised we're
doing
not talking about the NFL expanding into other markets as far as from 32 teams to 36 teams.
No, right.
Because if every franchise is worth over $5 billion at this point in time, why wouldn't they want to create more of those? But I'm sure that one day that'll be a conversation. From the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, 904-641-1010. The reason is also due to the SEC. Since going to 12, they would have gotten more teams in the next 4 slots than the Big 10 or the other conferences. If they go to 24, then the Big 10 and the other conferences would have gotten more of those last 8 slots from 16 to 24. And then you've also got coaches that believe the group of 6 should be pulled out of all of this. They can have their own playoff, so that would be trimming some of the fat. But I don't think that there's at this point, as we sit here, there's not necessarily these school or these conferences are correct and these conference or this one conference is incorrect. I think it needs to be more conversation. And I think that's why Greg Sankey and the SEC is frustrated, is because they feel like they were putting out what they wanted into the ether and having that conversation. And then all of a sudden, everyone else started to join forces, and halfway through the season then started putting out this 24 teams. But again, that's just from my understanding of, I'm not at in Destin, obviously, where Matt Hayes is.
Yeah.
Matt Hayes will be back with XL Primetime tomorrow, so we'll certainly learn a lot more then.
They just need a commissioner of the NCAA again, right? That can run the whole, like if they allow that
That has
structure
some
to work.
lobbyists in the government to make sure the Congress and the state senates get involved, the senators get involved. Yeah. No, they need one that's powerful, and that's the problem is they don't have one that is.
Wouldn't Saban's name be? I didn't mean to cut you off.
It was
thrown
being
around
thrown
like
around.
he should be.
I think he'd be pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But again, it's the NCAA's fight is much more against what the government and the antitrust lawsuits that have been going on. So they don't have any power. They can't make these decisions and then stand on them. We saw it with Charles Bediako. The NCAA said absolutely not.
Yeah.
But a court said in Alabama said absolutely.
we can't. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead on in. And again, we're trying to see that, or Will Wade is trying to see that at LSU too, a guy that's played professionally. All right, one segment to go, including today's Pest of the Day on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Not everyone is built for a cubicle. At Local 234, apprentices get paid to learn hands-on skills like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, the stuff Jacksonville runs on. No endless lectures, no massive student debt, just hands-on training, real jobs, and real pay. This is how you level up, by doing work that actually matters. Check them out at UA234.com. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Prosser here for Lifetime Flooring. You've heard us rave about Lifetime Enclosures. Now let's talk about Lifetime Flooring. I can tell you firsthand, the products and services, the best in Jacksonville. As you know, updating your floors is one of the most dramatic changes you can make to your home. Call the experts at Lifetime Flooring now and ask about their buy one room, get one room free promotion through Memorial Day. 0% financing available to meet any budget. Visit their beautiful showroom just off Phillips Highway and tell them Prosser sent you.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie. Summer heat in Jacksonville is no joke, and the last thing you want is your AC given out when you need it the most. Well, right now, Big Chief Tire is offering $50 off AC services to keep you cool on the road. It's fast, honest service from a local team you can trust. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 904-932-0950 or visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com. Big Chief Tire, your home team for dependable service. That's how you take care of your car the right way.
The Golf Club at Southampton is super excited for what's next, and that's brand new greens and plenty more to add to your golfing experience. While renovations are underway, you can still come out, hit the practice area, and keep your game sharp. Plus, Thursday night's trivia, always fun, and music on Friday nights on the patio. Check it all out at golfsouthampton.com or their Facebook page. Membership opportunity right now where you can take advantage of a great deal before the renovation is complete. Call 287-PLAY and check out the latest from the Golf Club at Southampton.
College football isn't just a season, it's a sisterhood. Bold Ladies is the women's membership group of the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, where community, connection, and college football come together. This is Stacy from 1010XL, and I enjoy my membership. From exclusive events to networking, philanthropy, and unforgettable game day experiences, Bold Ladies is where women make an impact. Visit TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com and join today.
When you're hungry, go big, and more importantly, go to Dailies, where they got anything and everything to tantalize your taste buds and fill you up. At Dailies, our barbecue beef brisket sandwich is slow smoked to perfection, tender, juicy, and full of bold flavor. It's the kind of sandwich that truly satisfies. Try the barbecue brisket sandwich at Dailies. Meanwhile, some favorites never go out of style. The Duval sub at Dailies is stacked, loaded, and made with the bold flavor you want in every bite. Fresh ingredients, big taste. It's a local favorite. Grab the Duval sub today at Dailies. Or maybe you just want a delicious chicken sandwich. Some choices just work. The chicken sandwich at Dailies is crispy on the outside, it's juicy on the inside, and it is full of flavor. Perfect for lunch, perfect for dinner, perfect anytime hunger hits. So grab the chicken sandwich today at Dailies. Dailies is made fresh, it's made local, and Dailies is built for big appetites. I'll see you there today.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Time now for today's Pest of the Day is always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's Terminix.com. If you have any pests like, I don't know, spiders or snakes like we were talking about earlier, contact Terminix. They're probably like, actually, please don't contact me about snakes, but spiders and ants and such. Wasps, we can take care of that. They do a great job taking care of ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town, as well as at our house. And also they can help treat mosquitoes as well this time of the year for sure. All right, the pests of the day, FIFA. The states of New York and New Jersey have had to subpoena FIFA because of the ticket prices. They believe that fans have been misled about seat locations and also the soaring prices of these World Cup games. That's obviously coming to the United States and Mexico and Canada this summer. And so as someone who... My brother's going to the first game, by the way, of the World Cup, United States versus Paraguay in Los Angeles. I don't know how much he paid for his tickets, but as someone who knows someone's going, I don't love these ticket prices that cause people to, like, if I pay one day, my ticket price is X, and then the next day, because of the dynamic prices, Taylor can get seats 2 seats down from me. She pays Y, and then Tom, and the next day, you get seats 2 seats down from me, and you pay Z, and I paid triple the amount that you paid, and she paid half the amount that I paid. I don't like that, right? It should be the same prices like concert
this
tickets.
section, this amount.
Correct. And I get
yeah.
some sections are going to cost way more.
Yeah.
I understand that. If you want to sit at a certain place, you pay a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
Fine by me. But FIFA, and we know they've done shady stuff in the past.
Yeah.
So they need to, I'm glad they're being subpoenaed, and they need to come clean with the ticket prices and maybe even lower some of the prices from now until the games.
I mean, prices and tickets, even concerts.
Crazy.
I mean,
I know.
unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. I know that song
Metallica
and
out
everywhere.
in the Sphere is unbelievable. Like, it's like thousands and thousands, and I love Metallica. I'm not paying thousands and thousands to go see
Are
them.
those
I just
resale
wouldn't go see
tickets?
them. Yeah.
That's what really
that's
get
the
people.
problem.
That's the problem and I'm sure that's part of the case with the World Cup tickets is that ticket brokers are able to go in and buy them ahead of the average person.
Yeah.
And then they can turn around and resell them for whatever the demand is. Demand and supply. We all understand that. But the fact that FIFA's being subpoenaed to me says that they have done some things that are shady.
Yeah, for sure.
Good.
I saw that. I heard Primetime talking about it a little bit earlier, and JJ was talking though about New Jersey, like the New Jersey Transit to get to MetLife. Normally is like $40, and they increased it to $150. So you're also trying to scam your people by making them pay that much to get on a freaking train and sit there to get to that's normally
I'm
$30.
sure hotel rooms,
Maybe
and
I don't even know if it's that. I've never been there. I know in Chicago you'd pay $7. It's round trip. You get in the city, out of the city. And so doing that, definitely scamming some of your people trying to up those prices. And I think that you're going to make your money. Like your city's going to make so much money during this period of time. You don't have to start all of a sudden being like, okay, to even get into the city, it's $200.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I wonder what's like with the Jags at 42,000 if they're going to have not the Jags themselves, but tickets in general. Will they be?
If they sell out
Yeah.
and some of the people who bought some of those
Resell
tickets
them.
resell them, then
For sure.
especially if they're trying to
Be a
get
high ticket.
right, and they're trying to drive up the price to where only an opposing fan would buy the tickets, right? Like that's where, that's why we don't want that to happen. We want it to be 99.9% Jaguars at Everbank Stadium for this season.
Yeah, get the corporations to buy them up. You know, we used to do that back in have Winn Dixie
like the
buy a
local
ton of tickets
corporations,
to get us.
Is that now
You wanna
Aldi?
keep it
Do we need
local?
Aldi to get
We
involved?
need some Aldi, man. Yeah, whatever.
Have you been in the new Aldi?
I haven't.
Okay, we went for the first time over
It's
the
at the
weekend.
beach, right?
Yeah,
Penman?
Yeah, it's
Where the
exactly
old,
where the
Winn
old Winn
Dixie
Dixie
was?
was.
Yeah.
And then Brian went in again yesterday.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Aldi, call 1010XL if you want to advertise.
There
we'll
you
tell
go.
you more
Let's
about
go.
it.
Just bring your
We'll
quarter,
endorse it.
everybody.
Just have good meats.
But you don't have to have a quarter if you don't need a cart.
Yeah. But most people, when you're going in there, because there's like,
They
you
charge
don't
you
even
for a
have
cart?
bags. You have to bring your own bags or boxes and
Oh,
stuff.
and the bags too.
They don't charge you for that. You get your quarter back once you return the cart. They're only going to charge you if you're trying to keep your cart, which you're not
Who
going
keeps
to.
the cart?
People.
Some people
Really?
apparently. But
I like the
bring your
Publix
own
at Beats. They put the lock on.
Oh,
you.
yeah, it locks
You
after
move
a
that
certain-
yellow light. It's like, what happened to my wheel? Who shot my at all? You can't go out of that parking lot at all.
No, I'm a basket person more than a cart person. Unless I'm buying like
I'm a
diet
cart,
soda or
yeah.
something like that, I try to do basket.
Huh.
I'm a cart girl.
Really?
Cart
They're
girl.
worried about people taking the carts.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure
People
they do.
used
I
to
mean,
steal-
homeless people probably take
steal.
them all the time, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you
need
there's
to-
some
you need to put your
homeless
stuff in this, something.
like little camps back there, and there's so many carts back
Yeah.
in that area, or just people that sometimes it's just they live in an apartment close, but they don't have a car, so they take the cart, home, and they don't want that because they want to keep their carts.
Right. Those things cost money. By the way, before we get out of here, tomorrow night is the next NBA game since we don't have any tonight. Sad for RJ.
Yeah.
Thunder Spurs at 8:30. Obviously, OKC leads
went up
3-2. Yeah, not the best night for Wembanyama. And then in the NHL, Golden Knights swept the Avalanche 2-1. They swept them and then won 2-1 last night. Game 4, Hurricanes Canadiens tonight, 8 p.m. Carolina leads Montreal 2-1.
Okay.
Yeah, some crazy stuff there. I
Yeah,
was not
yeah,
expecting a sweep in that one at all.
No,
'cause
right.
but injury, I think, played into that a little bit for the Avs. But.
Yep.
All right, let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
They were out on the grass, even though indoors yesterday. Hayes, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. You know, good to see the almost full team out there. And, yeah, I mean, I thought, Trevor, you could see the familiarity come back pretty quick. And, good to see it. Looked like everybody had a pretty good day catching the ball. So, I mean, that's really all you can focus on. I do like the way the safeties look. So, for what you can tell, it looked good. But, yeah, it's an important step. Like, we got to see our first OTA so we can get to our second OTA so we can then get to mandatory minicamp so that we can then get to training camp and then the season. So, yeah, it was great being out there. And, they look good, which is what they should look like. Year 2, everybody knows what they're doing for the most part. And, yeah, hopefully Rodriguez's, injury won't sideline him for very long, whatever it is. But, yeah, we'll talk about that coming up on the Frangie Show. I had a chance to catch up with Jacoby Myers yesterday. So
nice.
we'll,
Did he remember you?
He did. Well, we went to Bangkok in the off season, so we're real good friends. But no, he's like one of my favorite guys to talk to in the locker room. So he's just got such a veteran savvy to him that is still rare for this club, just because a lot of their best players are still kind of not really hit at their prime yet. But Jacoby, being 29, he's more. Been around, seen a lot of things in the league, and because of his background, is just such a technician, because he wasn't a high drafted guy, and Suarez had to survive, and then now obviously thriving with the Jaguars on a big new deal. So fun catching up with Jacoby. So we'll play that interview all coming up on the Frangie Show.
I thought the season was over at the moment that Trevor Lawrence threw the interception to Eric Murray, but glad to hear that we are still going to play.
And again, that was a really good play by Eric Murray. I mean, to be honest, this is the other thing too. Like, they're not really supposed to even like jostle, for the ball. So like BTJ could have made more probably of a play on that. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you collide, it can be an issue. It was a great play by Murray, but then there was another one later in the practice where it almost looked like, and I don't think it was Murray on this rep, but basically it was another deep pass, and it was almost like the safety said, okay, I'm not going to jump this time, you jump this time, and it was made a catch. So, I mean, again, that you're having to work through so many, obstacles in terms of what the CBA allows. But yeah, I mean, they look sharp. I mean, for what it is, they should look sharp, but they did. So it'll be exciting to see them back. We'll be out there Monday.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you guys.
All right.
I did want to tell people, too, because obviously we heard from Baselli, Gladstone, and Liam Coen on the Frangie Show yesterday, but we do at 5, if you check out on our social media, YouTube, and all of that, Jacoby Myers, Brenton Strange, and Ventrell Miller. We had one-on-ones with all 3 of those, so
awesome.
Lots of stuff to look forward to tonight.
Back at it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Great
right
job
here.
to everybody that went out there, including Hayes, who did catch up with Jacoby Myers. All right, that'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. But don't go anywhere. The Frangie Show is next.